I read over 20 self-improvement books to try and answer this simple question. Are they worth it? Are they actually going to improve my life, make me more productive, make me more money, improve my focus, whatever it might be? Are they actually worth reading? And by the end of this video, we're going to answer this question together. And I'm also going to give you a couple of books that I would recommend you read the most, and they have changed my life tremendously. But why did I start reading every single day? Well, ever since I was younger, I had a really big problem with reading. I never really liked to read, and I always found it a hassle to read the books that I was actually commanded to read in school. But I actually found it to be really easy when I started reading self-improvement books, because I was quite interested in the topic, and I was originally fiending for the knowledge and for the wisdom that these authors would actually give me. Then, after reading a couple of books, I actually understood this concept that is really well known to me now, and that I really studied through. It's simply that if you're forced to do something, you will immediately hate it. You will immediately not like to do it. I mean, literally just imagine when we were younger and when our parents actually gave us chores, we never enjoyed doing them. And we grew this sense of hate towards those habits. And this is why many people, when they actually move out of their parents' houses and then when they actually start living alone, actually have such a messy house, such a messy room, and they can't clean it up. It's simply because they find it a chore and they really just don't want to do it because their parents absolutely force them to do it. Everything that you're forced to do, you don't want to do. But if you actually take a mindful decision to start something, there's a high enough chance that you're going to actually enjoy it. This is really simply how our mind works and how we can actually use it to read books in a more efficient and a better way. But before we can actually do that, we have to set some standards for some good books and for some actually bad books. Now, to filter out this, I actually learned from one book that is called The Millionaire Fastlane by MJ DeMarco, and simply by looking at the author. If the author of a book isn't actually practicing what he's teaching in his book, or he has practiced it before, you shouldn't listen to him. Those books are simply not books of wisdom and of knowledge. They are books of testing. They're supposed to test the readers with the things that are in that book, and they're using principles that haven't been used before. And if you just use a tiny bit of logic, then you will see that it really makes sense why these books aren't so good and aren't actually good enough for you to read and invest time into. Now, another really simple thing that's maybe even easier to do so is simply asking the question, is the author actually successful because of the books that he has written, or is the author successful of something that he actually preaches inside of his books? Most of these online gurus, most of these people who write books actually get successful from those things and not from different things that they should preach in their books. So they're really teaching you one way to success while they've done it the other way. And it just really doesn't make that much sense. We went over the standards, we went over the why I actually started reading, and I want to answer another why question. Why should you start reading? Well, my friend, reading is really important, especially in our day and age. I mean, just think about a couple of 100 years ago. people would literally pay a shit ton of money to read books, but the quantity was quite low, meaning that the demand was really up there. And in today's day and age, you really need to filter out the books, like I said, to find some gems and to find some good books that can actually change your life. Because right now, absolutely everybody can write a book. And it's really simple as opening up a document and writing. It's that simple, and you can publish a book within a couple of months. While before that, before the printing machine and before writing books actually became so easy, people used to write it by hand, and that is what made the knowledge really inaccessible and so important and so valuable. But right now, the demand is really low for reading, and generally speaking, not many people read it. And if you're at least a little bit business savvy, if you know a tiny bit about business, you would understand that something that most people aren't doing is oftentimes actually good and productive for you. Especially because today we literally see so many people not being able to focus on anything. We're literally obsessed with this new TikTok era that is literally limiting our attention span to 5 seconds, which is actually worse than goldfish. Bro, this is just such a funny thing. We have shorter attention spans than goldfish, and I found reading to be one of the best things that we can do to actually fix our attention spans. Because at the end of the day, you have to focus on what you're reading, and you have to really interpret the message that the author is trying to tell you in the book. And it's really important, in my opinion, to actually start reading and to really develop your knowledge and your wisdom through this. Because not only does it develop, like I said, your knowledge and your wisdom, it also gives you this sense of experience that the authors are trying to teach you. There's a quote that I really like. Wise men learn from the mistakes of others. In most of these books, authors even speak about their mistakes that they have made throughout their journey, and this can be really important for you. So, at the end, is reading actually worth it? Yes, for many different reasons that I even gave you before this. You just have to filter out the books that are actually good and bad. And to do this, I want to give you a 5-book starter pack that will actually improve nearly every single part of your life and will enable you to actually filter out the bullshit that you might not need to read. The first book is actually, like I said, The Millionaire Fastlane by Andrew DeMarco. The second book is How to Win Friends and Influence People. The third book is The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck by Mark Manson. The fourth book that I would highly actually really recommend you read is Deep Work. This book will enable you to regain your focus a lot better. And this last and final book that you maybe can even read as the first self-improvement book that you're going to read, it's actually Atomic Habits. These 5 books I find to be really easy for people to actually start off with. They're not too long, Millionaire Fastlane being a little bit longer, but all of these books are really good and are actually going to adapt nearly every single part of your life that we're trying to hit at with self-improvement. So, you basically have all the groundwork that you might need to start reading books, and I would really recommend you do so. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video and I hope you actually got some value from it. If you'd like to actually get my one-on-one coaching, you can get that at the first link down below for only $10 with this code right here. If you have any questions, anything like that, you can ask them in my Discord server also down below. Fate be the reason, and if you actually want to watch some of my other content, you can click and watch one of my best videos right here. It's an amazing video, and I think will enable you to actually start this journey in a more efficient way. Thank you guys for watching. Again, Fade the Reason, and I will see you tomorrow. Have a nice rest of your day, my friends, and peace.